Okay, guys, we're back to the action here. We've got a special guest joining me right here, Lucy Kitcher. What's up, Lucy?
Hey, Scott. I'm happy to be here with you, having a great time here at the East-West event, day 2. Today we got 2 points for each game, so it counts for even more than yesterday.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, day 2, it builds on each other. So the points for today were 2. The matches today were 2, not 1.
And tomorrow they're going to be worth 3.
There we go. So it's a building effect right there.
Yeah.
Early right there, we saw Regina just hit a forehand drive past Christine. She seems to be dialed in early.
So Regina's just started playing singles. She's got a lot of power. I haven't seen her play much, but she's going to be good because she does have a lot of power in her game.
Absolutely. And she's very agile, very quick on the court.
Yes.
So an early lead, but let's see if Christine can get something going here.
That was a great shot.
Wow. Two-handed backhand. We see that a lot with a lot of the females in this event. They have two-handed backhands.
Yeah, actually, I just played a match against Christine in doubles, and we avoided her backhand because we know, if it goes to her backhand, she's going to hit it hard.
That's her strength, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1-1.
So I was talking about this earlier, some of the nerves or maybe just a little anxiousness early in the match is some of those unforced errors. The athletes usually settle in after a few points where they start sweating a little bit. Isn't that probably accurate with that?
And I think some people, more so than others, I usually tend to get a few points behind in the beginning, and it's a couple of reasons. Like you said, it's nerves is one thing, but the other thing is, you might be playing somebody you don't know, and you have to figure out your strategy.
So you're kind of feeling out that whole process as it goes.
Yeah.
One thing again to note is that we're on a time schedule with this, a timer, a 20-minute timer. It's not the first to reach 11, correct?
No, and it's absolutely nerve-wracking. I played last year, and exactly, it's the video which has 500,000 views. So that was the first time I've ever played with a timer, and it was completely nerve-wracking. We actually were way ahead, and even being ahead, it was just it made us so nervous we just couldn't hit good shots.
Yeah, I mean, it creates another dimension to the game that you're not, as pros, you're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
But I actually think from a viewing standpoint, it creates some cool dynamics.
Well, one thing I found is that you really want to take a timeout when you're down and the other person's got a few points, but in a regular match. But in this match, your time is ticking, so it's hard to want to take a timeout when you're losing.
I'm glad you brought that up because there is some strategy with that.
Yeah.
You can't just use the timeout because it could be devastating to the clock.
Yeah, I was watching Rob play against, I forget who it was earlier today.
Was it Eden?
Yeah, he was playing against Eden, and Eden had got a few points in a row, and I know Rob would have loved to take a timeout to break his momentum, but he couldn't because he's down, and you can't give up that time.
It didn't make sense, right?
No.
So it doesn't make sense at certain points. And that's kind of what I was talking about. The dynamic of this creates some cool viewership type things for us as the people watching, because you start to see the sense of urgency from the team that's down.
Yeah.
And some of the most competitive games that we've seen is when it comes under a minute and the team that gets the ball back after a side out is losing by 1 or 2 points, and you can kind of see that team's kind of pushing, but they're trying to be patient. Yeah. They know they've got a little time, but they're not trying to rush it, but they are, in a sense, rushing it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and even when it gets to 10 minutes, if you're several points behind, you've still got 10 minutes left, but it's just so hard to kind of believe that you can get all those points back when the clock's ticking.
Absolutely. Ooh, I think she just missed that wide. Regina got over there to that ball, and I think it just missed the line.
Regina's had some good shots, like deep to the back corners, which is, really the way to go in singles. In my opinion, you want to do 1 or 2 shots. You either want to be hitting the ball hard and deep, or you want to be at the net, kind of going for the angle, sweeping the ball.
And maybe even taking some pace off if they're back.
Yes.
So the angle with that is some strategy that we've seen played out today, actually.
Yeah, you don't have to worry so much about the round the post shot in singles, especially with the women's. If you hit a good angle, you're going to hit a winner because it's too far to go from the back of the court to all the way off the court at the front.
That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. 3-4. Regina's serving here. What do you think Regina needs to do to keep this game in her favor here?
Well, I think for singles, you have to get to the net. Really, you got to get to the net to win.
That's a very important part of singles, right?
Yeah. Hit a good shot, hit a hard, deep return, and then go to the net.
So following up your shot to get up there is still just as important as it is in doubles.
Yes,
And the reason is why? I mean, what's the purpose of getting up in singles? A lot of people may not think that's an important strategy.
So if they were watching the match prior to this one with Colin and
Tyler Loon
and Tyler, Colin was kind of standing still, and Tyler was running around crazy. You know, Colin was hitting the ball to the corners and keeping him back, and he was in complete control.
I like that you brought that up. That's what I think. Some people think that if you transition from tennis to pickleball in singles, that you would stand at the baseline and just exchange ground strokes. That's not really how pickleball is played in singles. It can be.
Yeah, it can be. When the tennis players are playing, though, sometimes they forget that they could hit a short shot. They do want to hit all those shots hard and deep.
And that probably is just their lengthy background in playing tennis. And the way tennis is played out is with those ground strokes a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's a rhythmic type thing with tennis.
Yeah.
In pickleball, it's a lot of short bursts.
Yeah. So pickleball is a game of percentages in doubles. In singles, Regina just missed that shot a little wide. That one kind of looked wide, too.
It did. But talk about that real quick for anybody watching. The referee is there, but he's not going to make a call. He's going to just confirm if he saw it, if somebody appeals.
Correct. So if we don't agree with our opponent's call, then we can ask the referee.
But like Christine didn't argue with that call.
No.
So it's called good, and if the referee disagreed, he would not say anything unless Regina appealed it.
That's correct.
There we go.
Yeah.
I just want to, sometimes I like to talk about that stuff because if somebody's watching that's new, they may not realize, like, why didn't the ref overturn that if it looked
Yeah, and a lot of times here in Florida, we have a lot of tournaments, and we don't always have referees. They're not all sanctioned tournaments, so a lot of times players play without referees, and then they might get to a medal round and they have a referee, and it's almost a new experience for them.
It's almost like shell shock.
Yeah,
it's a big change.
So they don't necessarily know all the things you can and can't do.
For sure.
So Regina actually helps me with a lot of the tournaments that we run here in South Florida. 0-0 Stay and Gamma Pickleball. We have, I think, 12 or 14 tournaments coming up for the upcoming season. They're all on the website, 00stay.com, and they'll all be on pickleball tournaments within the next 2 weeks.
And Lucy Kitcher has been doing a phenomenal job of streamlining her tournaments to where it's almost like clockwork.
Yeah.
I see that you're in a good rhythm with it.
Yeah, everybody really loves the tournaments. One of the things we do that nobody else does is when it's time for your match, you get a text.
I like that. I've been a part of some of your tournaments,
and
I think that was a very, very unique and cool thing that you guys did to kind of set yourselves apart there.
Yeah, and it allows us to kind of keep things moving and get people ready. They know when they're going to be up next. We also educate people with pickleball tournaments and make sure they know how to be on their phone and see the wait list and know when they're going to be coming up.
Yeah, so if you're a part of anything that Lucy Kitcher's running, as far as I know, all of your tournaments implement that text.
Yes.
So when you're at her tournaments, just have your phone close by because it will send you a text alert letting you know that your match is going to be played.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal point right there by Regina.
Yeah,
it does look
shot.
like she's settling in really nice right now.
Yep, they're at 6-6. It's a close game.
She was down 6-3, and I think she's closed that gap to be tied now. So.
Yeah, she played yesterday against Vivian.
Was it Vivian or was it Machelle?
Oh, Machelle, yeah. She played Machelle. Machelle also has a lot of power in her game.
She sure does.
Yeah.
Machelle can roll that ball with the forehand with pace and power and with a lot of topspin. So very impressive.
Yeah.
I feel like Regina's playing much better than she did last night.
Yeah.
She just wasn't, to me last night, she just didn't seem like she was comfortable or settled in at all. She got here early this morning. She made sure she got good warm-up. She made sure she's staying focused, and it's playing out on the scoreboard right now.
I think this is only maybe the second tournament she's played singles. I don't think she's played much singles yet.
Okay. That's a great point to bring up. And also, because you brought that up, I wanted to touch on this. Regina plays as if she has a tennis background, but what's her actual background?
So it's racquetball.
So it's not tennis.
No.
See, that's what's crazy.
I think that actually one of the trips we did, pickleball vacations, she was with me, and there was another player who played racquetball, and she said, we need to tell this player she needs to change everything basically because she was hitting the ball like they do in racquetball, and it just wasn't working. It's like tennis, it's small changes, but you have to make the changes in order to get better, to
continue to advance in this sport, right?
Exactly.
And you know just as well as I do, and everybody else, the sport of pickleball is rapidly changing and it's rapidly growing.
Yes.
So we're going to see new young talent coming in from racquetball, from tennis, from badminton, and it's picking up a lot of momentum. So for anybody listening that maybe plays tennis and has never tried pickleball, I mean, talk to them about what makes this sport so unique.
So pickleball is, I never played tennis, but for me, I think that pickleball is much more social. The court is smaller. There's always 4 people on the court. And, I might have been interested to play tennis, but I didn't know anybody that played tennis. And in pickleball, you just go and you show up at the court and you kind of look for who's, if a beginner, if that's where you're at, and you just kind of jump in and play, and everybody's really friendly, really welcoming.
Would you agree that it's very addicting?
It is very addictive. And another great thing is that it's very easy to pick up. If you go and you never play tennis and you try and play, I actually did that last summer on one of my pickleball trips, and it was really hard. But if you pick up a pickleball paddle, you can actually, play a game your first day, no problem. So.
Yeah, within 15 to 30 minutes, you could have a brand new person who's never even played a racket sport having fun and actually able to hit the ball back over the net.
Yeah.
This sport to me is the most unique thing I've ever seen in my life in 34 years because it combines social aspects, competitive aspects, and also just the idea that you get to compete in a sport that's still kind of on, I would say, like on the upswing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many different reasons people play. And, some people just play and they want to have fun. Some people just want to win, and some people want to get better. So you kind of have to figure out your group that you're in, and you kind of play with them, and then it's even more fun.
Absolutely. All right, so back to the action, guys. We want to tell everybody it's 8-8. If you can't hear that score, hopefully you can. This is a very tightly contested match right here.
It's been close all game. We've got 7 minutes and 20 seconds left, so they already switched sides at minutes.
So what happens if the clock strikes 0 and it's 8-8? What did we implement? The strategy here, the rule at 8-8 is called sudden death, right?
Right. So actually, first of all, if the timer goes in the middle of the point, they play out that point, and then what's the score at that point? If the score is tied, they're actually going to keep on playing until somebody scores.
And the only way you score in pickleball, right, is if you're serving.
Yes.
So it's not the next rally that you win.
No.
It's the next point that you win.
Yeah.
That's very important to remember when you're watching this. And yesterday, we had 2 sudden death matches. And I can tell you, as the commentator yesterday, during those matches, the energy and the electricity in the room heightened. It's just because everybody was feeling that intensity of that and kind of the pressure.
Yeah. So 8-9. Yeah, so Christine is trying hard to make Regina work to get to the lines, but it's a fine line between hitting the lines and hitting the ball out. So, and that one was out.
That ball was just so long, didn't it? Christine had the shot set up there.
Yeah.
I think Regina was beat on that, but it's so long right there. So we got 9-9.
They've been neck and neck this whole game. Oh,
they really have.
That was a great shot from Christine.
Yeah, neither player wants to give up any ground right now.
No, and singles it's hard. You got to make sure you get your serve in, make sure your return is in. You really can't afford to make any mistakes.
And also, anybody watching that has never played pickleball singles, Talk to people about how exhausting a 20-minute match is playing at a high level in singles.
So actually right now their score is 9-9. So singles actually can take a lot longer. So, we're 15 minutes into this and they haven't even finished a game to 11.
My goodness.
Yeah. But it has been exhausting. I mean, Rob and Eden played a game earlier that went to 30.
That's right, they sure did. There's a lot of points scored in that one.
Yeah. So you just have so much court to cover. You'd think it's just kind of double the amount as doubles, but it's really a lot more than that because, especially if you're at the back of the court, you have to cover more distance because of the angle of the ball.
I think that's the biggest thing is that you're covering sideline to sideline. You don't have a partner that can kind of bail you out per se.
And that's a good reason why you want to get to the net, because when you get to the net, you have less angles. It's much harder for your opponent to beat you.
Maybe one step left or right can cover that gap versus if you're back, the angles are sharper.
Exactly.
All right, so it's 11-9. It looks like Christine's taking a slight advantage here late in this game.
Great point.
Keep in mind, right? It's still a ton of time left on the clock.
Yep. They still got 4 minutes.
What would you like to see Regina do here over the next couple points to try to get this match tied back up?
She's just got to keep going for those hard, deep shots when Christine is back, and really just it's whoever makes less mistakes is going to win.
It looks like Regina and Christine are both playing extremely well right here. Neither one of them have given up much ground. Either way, that's just a phenomenal.
That was a great shot
right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
really good.
Regina is very quick on the court, very agile, and for her to put that by.
Yeah, and Regina had a good shot too.
For sure, 100%. So here we go. It's a 1-point game. Christine's serving out right here at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Just hit a little long.
Yeah, that one was a little long.
Those can take a little wind out of your sails, can't they?
They can. I wouldn't be surprised if Christine takes a timeout soon because we're getting down. We're not allowed to take a timeout in the last 2 minutes.
That's a great point.
When I played against Christine, she took 2 timeouts within the last 4 minutes.
So they were back-to-back?
Yes, back-to-back.
Now, let's let this point play out, and then I want to talk to you about that.
Great shot.
That's just great. So sometimes what you see down the stretch right here under 3 minutes is that the player or the team that's up, they feel a slight bit more relaxed, I think. Yes. They're not under as much pressure, and they tend to be more fluid hitting their shots. And you'll see the gap sometimes in some of these matches kind of get a little distance between them.
Yeah, sometimes it's because they are getting more confidence, and other times it's because if you're a few points behind, you just kind of know that you can't get, when this timeout's out. She's just taken a timeout at 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
It's a great segment to talk about.
When it gets done, it's going to be 1 minute and 23 seconds. Regina then has to score 3 points just to tie it up to keep playing.
Okay.
4 points to win.
Absolutely. So this played out the same exact way when you played against Christine in doubles.
Except that she's not going to be able to take a second time.
Because it's under that 2 minutes
she'll be already under the 2 minutes.
So that she burned her one timeout that she was going to use.
Yeah.
This clock is going to be working against Regina at the moment.
Yeah.
But I tell you where it could get exciting is if she scores 3 quick points here.
Yeah.
Goes into that sudden death mindset, and then she's got control of that ball serving out with time kind of winding down. So will it play out like that exactly? We don't know.
Right.
Nobody knows. But I will say Regina's going to fight, scratch, and claw every point right here coming down the stretch, and she's got to do it in a timely fashion.
Yep, she's got 1 minute and 20 seconds, so she's got about 25 seconds for each point. But
there's also no need to panic, right? Because it's only 3 points.
Right.
In the singles, the points don't last an extreme amount of time. That was irrelevant anyway.
Yeah,
even if that ball was in or out. Regardless, it was a point.
Yeah, that's one.
Still over a minute now.
I think it might be more nerve-wracking for us watching than it is for them.
I think certainly. I think you're spot on with that right there. We get a little anxiety and nervous watching.
Yeah.
They're competing.
Yeah.
They're dialed in.
Christine got the ball back now, so that's probably going to be the match.
Notice how she's taking her time.
Yes.
She's using all 10 seconds that she gets.
Yeah.
She's pretty good at using the gamesmanship strategy.
Absolutely.
She really I think, utilizes within the rules pretty
She's walking,
efficiently.
She's walking very slowly back to her spot. We're down to 23 seconds.
This could get
Regina
interesting
needs
here.
2 points.
Okay.
That's
now
one.
Now this is where it can get
15
interesting.
seconds.
She's taking her time. No. What? Oh, that ball hit.
No, she's just taking her time giving the ball back. 8
Okay,
seconds.
But now if she serves this right here and she wins this point, it's sudden death, right?
Yes. Which is an advantage. Sudden death would be an advantage if Regina had the ball at that point.
That's why I was wondering if that was going to play out the way we thought it might.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we have got to cut to a break here. We're going to get an interview with Christine and Regina, and then we're going to have a 30-minute intermission, and that was the conclusion of the first session, and we'll be back in about 30 minutes to go to the second session. All right, guys, we just concluded session 1. Christine was the winner of our last singles match right there before we take our 30-minute break. Talk to us real quick. I noticed you've got a beautiful new paddle in your hand. Talk to us about that.
So I just switched to Franklin Pickleball. These paddles are newly made and coming out at US Open, and they're great.
Did you have any say with the design of the colors or anything like that?
Yes, I designed the entire paddle from the core to the surface to the colors, and the graphics might change a little bit, but the actual play of the paddle is all my choice.
That's awesome. It's beautiful, beautiful. And so the camera can see it. Raise it up so everybody can see it. And the initials say CM. That stands for Christine McGrath, right? Awesome. It doesn't stand for Scott Golden, I can tell you that much. Great job on that last match. You guys were battling. We don't have a ton of time to talk about the ins and outs of that, but you did what it took to finish that out. I noticed you utilize your timeouts very well.
Yes. This format's kind of interesting because we have a timer with 20 minutes, so utilizing the timeouts is kind of nice.
It's nice, and it's important when you're up to be able to do that. Thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate your time. All right, we got Regina Franco coming on right here. Regina, how are you? How are you?
Tired.
So that was a really fun match to close out session 1. You were really dialed in. You kept that game neck and neck with Christine the whole time. You guys battled down to the wire. What did that feel like right there with the time kind of winding down, trying to get that last point? I mean, what does that feel like? Talk to the people about that feeling.
Too much pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I didn't really focus on the time because I just wanted to get that little point. Just the timeout messed me a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
And with that, but I mean, you have to take the time out no matter what, just to reset the point. And I mean, that was a great match and great winning for her.
Absolutely. That was fun to watch. I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much, Regina.
What do I need to be a champion? Power. Speed. And the right paddle. For me, it's the Bantam EXL by Paddletek.